What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Skytown, everything Chicago Sky related podcast brought to you by the All Sports, All Plays Network and the Chicago Sky themselves. You can find me everywhere on social media. We're going to run through it really quick because we got a lot to talk about today. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to do. And Skytown is now officially on all speaking platforms as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Anchor, whatever you want to find it on, you can find on Skytown. We're going to be posting there very soon. We're going to be catching up on all the episodes we've already missed and recap this season. I'm super excited about it. Today, we're going to be talking about the quote-unquote finals rematch between the Chicago Sky and the Phoenix Mercury. It really was a bittersweet kind of game. James Wade did attest to it after the game as well. Obviously, the Chicago Sky won 73-70. It was a very defensive heavy game. The Sky were up at times, they were down at times, it looked sloppy at times. It wasn't the greatest game all around from either side or from either team. Obviously, free BG. She's not a part of this game, so how is it really a finals rematch? Diana Taurasi gets booted, gets ejected after getting a technical and then cussing out a ref in the second quarter. The Sky are up, 31-21 at the time, and Diana Taurasi thought she got a foul on her from Candace Parker, and obviously she didn't get the call. So, she made a scene, and it was insane. But, a lot of people thought it was all ball. A lot of other people feel different types of ways. But, obviously Diamond DeShields is now a part of the Phoenix Mercury. This is her first time playing the Chicago Sky, the team who drafted her. So it was a very different feel from the 2021 finals. It's definitely something I wish I could have gone to. I didn't. I couldn't. Very unfortunate. I couldn't make the game. I had work, but other work. It's something to where, though, it was a great game. I watched the recap. I was listening to it on my phone, and I was very nervous. I was very nervous towards the end of the game because I really didn't know who was going to take over. Again, Rebecca Gardner doing her thing. I got mad love for Rebecca. I have a great relationship with her. She's an amazing individual, and she is showing the world that she's an amazing hooper. Rebecca Gardner is truly doing her thing right now. Coming from overseas, and we're definitely going to have to sit down with her in a couple of days and at practice before they go on this long road trip and have a conversation about it, because there's so much we can unpack today. This is one of those episodes I really wished I would have been at the game, because I had so many, people's brains to pick from, all the way from the Phoenix Mercury and how they're handling the BG situation with her being imprisoned in Russia, all the way to James Wade and Candace Parker and everybody on the Chicago Sky, how they feel about it. Obviously a lot of people talk during the game that, BG, James Wade even attested she's the sweetest person you'd ever meet. She's a gentle giant. That's a quote from him. And that she wouldn't hurt a fly. So it's definitely one of those situations to where, we understand that it was wrongfully accused, and what she did. Yes, it was one of those situations to where you shouldn't have brought that. What she brought, is a weed pen, something like that, weed oils, something. Nothing huge, but you can bring that in America. You can bring that everywhere, and obviously BG has been a part of the Russia's overseas team for many years, so I'm assuming she's been doing that for quite some time. I can't attest for it. I can't say she has or she hasn't, but I would assume she has. And obviously everything that's going on right now with everything from Ukraine and everything else around the world, Russia has been very tight about just everything we do as far as Americans, as far as anybody being in Russia right now. With the sanctions and all that. So I feel like that was a big part of all of it. But the one thing I really want to pick everybody's brain about is, and we're going to sit down hopefully with Rebecca or anybody else on the Sky who's willing to have this conversation, is that going to affect people overseas? Is that going to affect the players who play overseas? Are they going to want to come over there and play, seeing that BG has been in a cell wrongfully, and it's been proven by whatever the feds or whoever you want to call it, it's been wrongfully proven that for the last 100 days she's been in a cell. And if I was a player and I had to play overseas, I'd question it. If I had to play in Russia, I'd question it. Obviously BG's her Russian team, the owner of the team, was murdered by, we're not going to get into it, but by Russian individuals who have high power. So that's a whole conversation for a different day. And this is a crazy conversation. We're talking about women's basketball right now. We're talking about Russians killing owners of basketball teams, imprisoning players, and all this other crazy shit. But that's just the reality of the situation, is that, a lot of people feel like not enough's being done with BG. I know it's two different magnitudes of levels of popularity and who they are, and the situation. But my thing is, and I'll keep it like this. and I'll say it with my chest every single day. If LeBron James was in the very same situation, he would not be in that cell for 100 days. That's just truly how I feel. It's one of those things to me where it's like we're all human at the end of the day, so why doesn't everybody get equal treatment? And obviously, it's not just BG. The only reason we're talking about BG is because we know BG is because she's a celebrity, because she has a, she's a person, a political figure, I guess you could say. And it's one of those situations to where there's people, there's individuals, Americans and many others, whether it be in North Korea, whether it be in China, or whether it be anywhere around the world, who's been wrongfully accused of things because they're in a foreign country and because they're Americans, and vice versa. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's people in America that's the same situation. You know what I mean? We just don't hear about it. But the only reason you don't hear about it is because they're not political figures. So I feel like everybody should be treated equally. Obviously, that's a very obvious statement I'm making right now. It's not, that's not a hot take. I feel like, at the end of the day, we should all be given equal opportunity. And like I said earlier, if LeBron James was in the same situation as BG right now, same thing, going there, he would not be in that cell in Russia for the last 100 days. And I feel like that's where the common misconceptions are as a people, is, we pick and choose when we care about things. We truly do. All the way, and it's a touchy subject, but all the way from mass shootings, all the way to, Black Lives Matter and so many other situations. Everybody cares about it for the first 2 weeks, and then the majority, it dies down, and then people just go back to their normal everyday lives. And BG for the last 100 days has consistently been in this cell, and it's been insane. It's insane to me to think that, we're just allowing this kind of stuff to happen. But for me, I'm definitely not calling this a finals MVP match. Not finals MVP, a finals conference match, because it's something to where, obviously, like I said, BG's not there. Diana Taurasi leaves in the second quarter. Diamond DeShields is on the other team now. So there's a lot going on. Stephanie Dolson's not there. Emma Misa-Min wasn't a part of this team. So obviously there's a lot going on. But the game itself, it was not a great game. Now, obviously, Diana Taurasi gets booted out of the game, but she finished the game. I'm trying to look at her stats right now. They don't have them up here. Oh, they do. 13 minutes, 5 points, 1 assist, and 2 rebounds. Turner had 2, 0, and 9 and 37. Diamond DeShields had 10, 3, and 7 and 31. Charles had 25, 3, 7 in 33. Diggins Smith had 12, 8, and 0 and 36. Cunningham had 4, 1, and 5 and 27. Gustafan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, 9, 2, and 1 and 10. And Petty had 3, 3, and 1 and 14. Overall, we held them very tightly, and obviously, we won this game by 3. But when you really look at it, at the nitty gritty of things, and I hate to say it because obviously it's next woman up, but if BG was there, I think it's a different conversation. I think that's a very different game. So I take this win. I will take it. But we definitely do need to get better. And it was a very defensive game, and it was great defensive effort. We have Rebecca Gardner, and James Wade. I'm gonna find the audio. James isn't slick. I heard it. I was in the Zoom meeting last night. Rebecca Gardner, and he made the corniest joke, the corniest fucking joke I've ever heard. It was awesome, dude, and no one laughed. No one thought it was funny. No one smirked. Like, I was like, dude, like, if I was there, I would have laughed my ass off. I thought it was funny. Whatever. I guess a lot of people have different jokes. I love dad jokes. I love stuff like that. It makes my day. But to get to the sky, Candace Parker. What a night for Candace Parker. Back-to-back awful nights, and it's all respect to her. I love mad love for Candace. She's a great individual. But something's going on right now with Candace, and I just can't really pick my brain at it. I think a part of it, obviously, age. But I'm never gonna put her in that box because she is amazing at what she does. But a lot of people say age, starts to hit, and it's definitely a conversation to be had. Not with Candace Parker, but it's something to where I feel like what does start to sink in is that you did have a short off season because you went to the finals, because you won a championship. I think that could play a role into it, but it's also it's very early on in the season. I feel like James Wade said it too. At the beginning of the season, you do everything defensively. You try to lock down everything defensively, and you try to be as perfect as you can. Mainly in practices, you're running defenses. And then you try to find your offense as the season progresses and see what you have, because you have so many weapons and so many keys to this team. And you really are going to be able to just hit on that later on down the stretch. Like Courtney Vandersloot had an amazing game. Sloot was popping off. But to get down the rest of it, Kalia Copper had 11, 3, and 7 and 30. Emma Mieseman had 10, 3, and 5 and 33, which is why obviously deflections and blocks is a big part of Emma's game. But with Brittany Griner, with BG being there, it's going to be a different conversation. You can't just have 5 rebounds because Brittany's going to dominate. So without Brittany to only have 5 rebounds, I don't even know what she would have if Brittany was there. Then you have Allie Quigley, 7, 1, and 4 and 24. Courtney Vandersloot, 18, 6, and 2 and 30. What a game from Courtney Vandersloot. She called game. She did her thing. An amazing performance from her. Hebert had 4, 1, and 6 and 18. Gardner had 10, 1, and 3 and 25 with a big steal, which honestly, even James Wade attested, not a lot of women or even athletes can make that play in this league. In this league, especially, the play she made, and I wish I had the clip. I'm definitely going to pull it up during practice when we talk to her about it. But it was something special. It was something fun to watch. I definitely got to get a Rebecca Gardner jersey. Dana Evans, 6, 1, and 1 and 10, and Lee had 2, 0, and 2 and 4. Overall, it was a great game. I loved everything I saw from the Chicago Sky. It was something to where I feel like I wish they could be I guess more consistent team from a scoring perspective. Every night you can rely on certain individuals, but that's the beauty of having so many weapons. But I do feel like they need to find an identity or two. If one night, if we're going to this and it doesn't work, we can go to this the next. But I definitely do feel like, they're experimenting with a lot right now. And I feel like that's what the early on part of the season is. Look at the Sky last season. It was the same situation. They didn't have the best record. They weren't a top 3 team in their, conference or in anything, or in the league. So, you really do understand this is one of those teams, that if they're in the playoffs, you're terrified. And, when it comes down to rankings or standings, it really, not that it doesn't matter, but as long as we get in, I feel like we can go tick for tack with just about anybody. Obviously, right now, the Las Vegas Aces are going to be our probably biggest competitor. But don't count out, obviously, the Phoenix Mercury and many other individuals who I feel like have a really good put together team. But I feel like we took a lot of strengths out of this game, and I hated the way my voice just sounded, but it was a great game overall. I'll take that win. I'll take it however I want it. I mean, it's one of those things to where it's like you kind of just got to be happy with the results of the game. Right now, the Chicago Sky in the standings are in third. You have the Mystics are 7 and 3, the Suns are 6 and 3, and the Sky are 5 and 3. Dreamer 5 and 3, Fever 3 and 8, and then the Liberty are 1 and 7. Prayers out for Stephanie Dolson. I mad love for her. She got her bag, but the New York Liberty are looking tough. They're all praying that Brianna Stewart goes there in the offseason. But next up, they are going to the Dream. We are going to have a great game there. June 3rd, they're going over there. Super excited about that. They have a little bit of a stretch, and they're coming back to play the Mystics on June 5th. Play the Mystics in Washington on June 8th, and then the Sun again on Friday, June 10th. So I'm super excited about that. Can't wait for the WNBA All-Star Game. If you don't know, it is definitely in Chicago. Can't wait for that. Hopefully we're going to be able to get in there, get in some interviews with some of the greatest players in the world, Brianna Stewart, and so many others. I'm super excited about it. But, with that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Again, if you haven't already, give the All Sports All Plays Network a huge shout out, a huge share. Share this. Please share this on all streaming platforms, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, whatever it may be. Share it to your friends. Do whatever you got to do. Follow the All Sports All Plays Network. Follow Skytown on all listening platforms at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. We're going to start pumping out more episodes frequently there, more interviews, more conversations with the players. And some fan Q&As as well. So definitely check that out. We're going to be leaving the link to that very soon on the All Sports All Plays Network. Again, I can leave the link on my social media accounts that are down here. Definitely check them out. Mike Huggies it's Mike Hughes on Facebook, Mike Huggies on Twitter, and Mike Huggies on Instagram. It's just my name. That's how they used to pronounce my name when I was in middle school, and it just stuck for a little while. It's Mike Hughes, without a doubt, but this is Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic, from Skytown, and from the All Sports All Plays Network. Thank you guys for always being amazing. You can catch us tonight on Off the Rails with Jim Cross, Daniel Braun. We have Randy Jowers, and we are going to be talking about the SEC champions, my and Randy's Tennessee Volunteers. Feels great to say, even better to look at, but we got bigger things coming on. Omaha, we're coming for you, baby. We're definitely going to be talking about that. Can't wait. Check them out on In Off the Bench podcast. Check that out on all streaming platforms. They interview everything from Ole Miss players to Tennessee Volunteers and so on and so forth. They do an amazing job over there and an amazing production. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening. This is Mike.